From the Western Mass News studios in Springfield, this is Western Mass News Getting Answers with Dave Mattson.
Welcome to the very first edition of Western Mass News Getting Answers. Good to have you with us. Every Sunday morning at this time, we'll be getting answers from federal, state, and local leaders and newsmakers about the issues that impact you. Today, we're getting answers from Springfield Mayor Domenic Sarno on police and community relations and changes within the police department, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on the city and the people who live here, and we'll also look ahead to the city's future after COVID-19. Mayor Sarno has served as Springfield mayor longer than anyone else. Elected to a fourth term in 2019, the city has been through a lot since he was first elected mayor in 2007. You'll remember the June 2011 tornado, the Halloween snowstorm that same year, and of course now the COVID-19 pandemic. There have been many bright spots, though, too, including the MGM Casino in the city's South End and a lot of development. Mayor Sarno, good to see you.
David, it's fantastic to see you, the best ad-libber around. If you notice, his goatee is gone. I'd like the goatee.
Well, you know, they're not allowed on television, so I had to shave it off. Actually, it just kind of fell off.
It looked good, and please tell your son, Chris, I said hello. He does a wonderful job teaching for us in our Springfield public school system. He was the Pied Piper during the High School of Science Technology graduation there, too. So we appreciate his efforts with our young people.
Well, fitting, too, because the mayor was really my first guest on the podcast that we were doing.
I'm honored.
And fitting that you're here with us today. Lots to get to.
Yeah.
One of the things is police community relations.
Yes.
They've been a major issue in the city, and they took another hit on Wednesday this week. You did react very quickly to a social media post by a Springfield police officer depicting a doctored image of the George Floyd statue in Newark. It shows him with a gun pointed at the stomach of a pregnant woman. You reacted very quickly to this.
I was fit to be tied, Dave, and it just unbelievable. We have worked so hard here in the city of Springfield, in the state, in the country, to move forward and work together, unite in a respectful way, and to have something like this occur ignites and divides. And I have zero tolerance for these types of social media issues on it. And we are going to move an investigation, Commissioner Clapper, all the other appropriate departments, ASAP, for the appropriate measures to be taken. But just as important, too, is that continued expansion of sensitivity, cultural sensitivity, diversity training, and get to the root causes of this.
Yeah.
I mean, the hows, the whys, the whats, and so we could move forward to alleviate these issues cropping up. But I mean, we were making a tremendous amount of headway. We've made a number of programs, Commissioner Clapper, a number of initiatives and reforms, and to have this, well, I can't say what I want to say because I'm on TV right now, but just very aggravating.
But how much does this set you back? I mean, it's like you take 10 steps forward, and this is like 20 steps back. When I saw that, it's like, oh my God, but it's got to be so frustrating.
What happens is, again, you start to see a little momentum building on continued positive police and community relations, and with COVID-19 made it a little bit difficult too, because we had our C3 policing, and that was a great interaction with our community, and we had to cut that down. And you're starting to see that some corners are starting to be turned with the initiatives and police reforms Commissioner Clapper and I are putting in place, and to have this reverts people back to the very tragic incident that occurred and negative activities that occurred there. So you got to double your efforts again, and we will continue to do that, but it just was very aggravating.
I mean, do you get to a point, because you're doing sensitivity training and everything else, you say, maybe we should just ban anyone in municipal service from having social media?
Well, I have a very strong social media policy.
Yeah.
I do on that, and you'll have others that'll argue about the, your rights to be able to say and do what you want, but you can't do that to harm people either, and you can't do that to ignite situations on it. Firm, believer on that. So when it was brought to my attention, we'll deal with it appropriately. Again, I have showed zero tolerance on this. You see, I've been very consistent on these issues and how measures have been moved forward on it. but I was fit to be tied.
Yeah.
Fit to be tied. What is the rhyme or reason? There is none.
There is none. No.
There is none. And it takes away from all the good work that our Springfield Police Department and Commissioner Clapper do day in and day out to keep us safe and sound. And also, you know, recently now it's coming to light, the reforms we're doing, the initiatives that we're doing.
Yeah, let's talk about that, disbanding the narcotics division, the reasoning behind that. And
the reasoning behind that, again, is that 80% of the guns being taken off the streets were on narcotics raids. Since Commissioner Clapper has taken over, we have not had one, this is well over 2 years, and Captain Brian Keenan heads the narcotics division, was completely revamped. Not one complaint against our narcotics division. The other thing, too, is that we're the largest department, I believe, in New England that is wearing body-worn cameras, something I pushed for years, and Commissioner Clapper has been able to get that through. And narcotics wears them also. So what we're doing now is, and Attorney General Merrick Garland also put it across on the federal level, that with diminishing opportunities for police to utilize your task force, and that's exactly what we're doing. So those individuals in the narcotics division, some will go to the gun unit. We're going to have a straight-out, strict gun unit going after those illegal guns, and others will go to the task. We're in various task force with our state, federal partners, whether it's with District Attorney Gallooni, or whether it's the FBI, ATF, DEA, Sheriff Cochee. So those task force, the recent raid we made on with Knox Street. So we'll focus on the guns. That's where the issues are. We took off 275 guns, record totals last year, and we're well over, I think, 115, 120 now, these illegal guns on the street. And many of these perpetrators that our brave and dedicated men and women in blue, Springfield Police Department arrest, Dave, but we talked about it before, are repeat violent criminal offenders who, for some reason, continue to be let out, whether on monitors, bracelets, or very, very low bail. And that's what I hear from the people of all creed colors and backgrounds when I'm out there on the streets and neighborhoods. They'll say, Mayor Domenic Sarno, why is that person back on the street? Why?
what are the judges telling you? Because you've been talking about this for a long time.
And the judges, I know with some judges I'm not their favorite person, but that's too bad, because I'm going to keep fighting for the residents and business community of the city of Springfield. I say with some judges, change the law, they'll say. Change the law, Sarno. Well, that's what I've tried to do for the last 5-6 years. I proposed bail reform legislation. I want to thank State Representative Angelo Puplo, who continues to sponsor that for me, on the bail reform to the legislature. And also, Governor Charlie Baker has proposed a dangerousness bill, which he has some of my bail reform in there. But it doesn't seem to gain any strong or serious traction in our legislature. This would be targeted to, again, those repeat violent criminal offenders. You see, Dave, people like you and I, or your viewers that are watching it, all creed colors and backgrounds, a defendant goes in. They have the right at district court, if they don't like their bail or their bail restrictions, they can kick it up to Superior Court. If they don't like it there, they can kick it up to a single justice of the state Supreme Court. We, the people, have no such opportunity. Right. And that's what I'm looking for there. Fair playing field. Everybody will get their due process on it. But that way you can check these individuals who, it's a 1 or 2%. I'm all for empowerment. I'm all for rehabilitation where it's appropriate, but on these hideous crimes, these people are dealing poison on our streets, they're gun-toting, repeat violent criminal offenders, and everybody across the board wants them off our streets.
One of the other problems, and this really came to a head about 2 weeks ago with dirt bikers. I mean, it's been going on and on and on, and now all of a sudden at the X, there's a confrontation and someone gets hit over the head, God knows, countless times with, and to the best of my knowledge, is still in very serious condition. This has got to be so frustrating. I know Bob Bolduc is saying, listen, don't put it on us as far as the gas stations are concerned, you know, to kind of, as far as sales of gas. Where do you go with this?
Well,
because it's just not, it's not stopping.
You know, being a mayor, there's a lot of highs and lows, and it's very difficult when you have to speak to family who have lost someone, or in this case, a vicious, violent beating. It's gone. I've spoken to the family a number of times on it, and they want justice. They want justice. Commissioner Clapper and myself, working with our state police partners, We have details that are out there. We've confiscated numerous, tens and 20s of dirt bikes. We've used the eye in the sky, our state police, the helicopter, to track down, to make confiscation, citation, and arrest. I need the courts to back us up. But here's the point, Dave. The dirt bikes, Chapter 90, rules of the road, traffic, are illegal. They cannot be on public streets.
Bottom line.
Bottom line. So now I commend the City Council Representative, State Representative Orlando Rems. We talked about this. He found that these ordinances or laws that are being done, some in Massachusetts, some in Connecticut, have proved very valuable. So why not? So I respect Bob Baldock. He's a very good businessman, gives back to the community. But my point here is that it is illegal to get gas, to gas up, and do it.
An illegal bike.
It's with a legal bike. Now, you look at these other areas, New Haven, there's a few other areas that they have had no issues. We have to utilize every tool in our toolkit to stop this. Now, police are working this hard on what happened at the X, and I anticipate, hopefully in the very near future, that arrests will be made.
Okay.
And then, a strong message must be sent from our court system.
Come down harder.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
You talk to that family, that individual is going through a very, very difficult time to try to save his life.
Exactly.
And my thoughts and prayers of good health, and speedy recovery, encouragement go out to that individual.
All right, Mayor Sarno, we're going to take a break. All right, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at the COVID-19 response in the city and the impact that COVID has had on Springfield. Stay with us. Welcome back to Western Mass News Getting Answers. My guest, Springfield Mayor Domenic Sarno. It's nice to be here sitting across from you and not wearing masks or being at a good distance.
It is wonderful.
Isn't it?
It is wonderful.
Let's talk about COVID-19. I mean, the impact on cities and towns across the country. Is it too early to tell the economic impact gauge on this thing that it had on the city?
It's I don't want to say it's too early because we've been examining it, but again, you had 14, really 16 months. There was a tremendous amount of momentum here in the city of Springfield, not only with major projects, but in our neighborhood areas. And that really put a pall over it. We're coming out of it now. We'll get our mojo back and moving forward. I want to commend my Commissioner of Health and Human Services, Helen Carlton Harris, who I call my or our Dr. Anthony Fauci, and my whole city cabinet team from rank and file. Dave's been around like me for a while. Tested and true. We've been through a number of natural man-made disasters. And, we know what to do, except when this one was different. And the other ones, I knew what hit me. This was like shadow boxing with the COVID-19. But we did everything.
Well, it changed all the time.
It changed all the time. We did everything. And I appreciate Western Mass News always at our Monday morning press briefings. Dr. Kerouac, Bay State Health Systems, the CEO and President, Dr. Robert Ruse, the Chief Medical Officer at Mercy, and we had everybody available, and people looked forward to getting all that information. We made a tremendous amount of headway, but where the problem is underlying now is with the 18 to 35-year-olds and 16 and under. We are now moving to start vaccinating our students. And but some of our young people think they're invincible, and I hope they are. But why take the risk? You and I were talking earlier. As kids in schools, we get shots, polio, this, that. There's a lot of misinformation out there. We have the Vax Force that we've put out there with Helen Carlton Harris, the social influencers, the PSAs, the events that we're doing.
Because you have been seeing an uptick.
There has been, our numbers have stayed good, but there has been an uptick, and I wouldn't be surprised if Helen and I do something press-wise or press conference on, re-alerting the people again, whether sometime next week or the following week, that you need to get the shots. It's good for you, it's good for your family, it's good for the community.
And the kids are all coming back to school in the fall, too.
That's right.
That's the other part. And this is full-time. We're back to normal.
Back to normal. Before that, we made sure all our, I think, 8 million meals, breakfast, lunch, dinners served to all our students and families. So serving our seniors, our home delivery seniors for foods, 20,000 laptops, iPads, we made sure we got out there. Millions of dollars pumped into our businesses, especially small businesses, grants. Tried $2 million to help people stay in their homes, be able to pay their mortgage. their rents, the utilities through WAIF. So we did everything and anything working with all our partners, whether in governmental, whether in the medical field, whether in the nonprofits, and whether in the private sector. Because on natural and man-made disasters, I always say that people want to hear, Dave, and you've been with me. You've been right in the heart of it, the freak snowstorm, the tornado. They want to hear what happened.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
And some reassurance.
And then the reassurance of, hey, hope. We're going to get through this together. So communication is the key. And I know we talk about social media, and some of the misinformation that goes out there pertaining to COVID-19 is just, it's totally ridiculous.
You concerned about the opening of school this fall, that there might be a pretty big uptick? Or?
No, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. We've done a good job, Superintendent Warwick and our team with Chief Nurse Jeannie Clancy and, of course, Helen Carlton-Harris. We did that, but we're always, preparing on it. We have all the protocols that are in, but we got to start moving forward. And the key to get complete business, consumer, and public confidence: shots in the arms, shots in the arms, shots in the arms.
Yeah. You look at COVID, and the tendency of all of us, especially in the media, is to dwell on the negative. Yeah. But the positives that have come out of this pandemic, and one of the things I always think of, and I've talked about with businesses and everything, it's how quickly you can change your mode. In government, it usually takes months, if not years.
Unfortunately.
And you did this stuff in days and weeks.
We did. I'll never forget when the order came down from Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, who have been great, fantastic partners and friends, their whole administration, and on the federal level with Congressman Chairman Neil Ritchie, always my conduit. It was a Sunday, late afternoon, early evening, when the word came down, shut down.
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I called together all my cabinet heads. We were in my office. It was 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night to be ready to move on a plan and be ready. We'll make the announcements early Monday morning, which Western Mass News was there. And you were almost at times flying the plane as you were building it. Because you never, like I said, it was like you were shadowboxing what was going to hit you next. And I think people thought at times, maybe we all did, oh, this thing will go away in 3 weeks or a month or so. Yeah. Fast forward 14 to 16 months. And I want to thank besides the city team and all that work together, the residents and business community of the city of Springfield. They were very cooperative. They were very resilient. They were very patient.
That's been a key word in everything,
yeah,
resilience.
They were very patient, and it's like this medicine's going to make you feel better, and then we had to do, before that the vaccines came out, all the preventative public health type aspects, the proactive as far as the masking and how you could. I was trying to balance. You had to balance, Dave. Basing decisions on public health, medicine, and science, and trying to keep the economy going too.
Right.
But that's what we, Helen and I, based our decisions on the public health, medicine, and science, and then try to, let's see if we can get people, business back out and about there. But if you couldn't, you got to starve this virus. So there's a new variant out there, and again, to our younger people, okay, and I hope you are invincible. But why take the gamble? Get the shot. Get the shot. It's good for you, good for your family. You don't want to put your mom, dad, grandparents, everybody in harm's way. So, we're getting there, but I'm not surprised that we're starting to see a little bit of an uptick. Yeah. Mainly when we hear it's mainly on people who have not been vaccinated are the ones that have been hospitalized, but it's at the 18 to 35 and 16 to 12. Plus, we've done a specific outreach. Health disparities are really highlighted in a negative way with COVID-19, the brown and black population, which we targeted that. And, there's mistrust. The Tuskegee, I can go on and on, a lot of mistrust on it. And we've tried to work on that to say that, here's the facts. Yeah. And we've used people who are well respected in those communities. Say, here's the facts, why you should need to get this shot.
Right. If you've never trusted us before, trust us with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Good time to take a break. When we come back, the mayor and I look at Springfield's future after COVID-19. Back to Western Mass News Getting Answers. My guest, Springfield Mayor Domenic Sarno. Lots of good things happening in the city now that we're getting out of COVID. This past week, the long-delayed 31 Court Street redevelopment project finally getting underway downtown. Apartments, retail, and dining. $50 million working together with the public and private sector. You've got to be thrilled to finally see this get off the ground.
It's another project that people thought would never get done here in the city of Springfield, and it's going to get done. And that it's been talked about for 30, 40 years, and you look at Union Station, and I commend the yeoman efforts of Congressman Neal. They said that would never get done, and we got it done.
I mean, for those of us who remember that piece, that's a breathtaking piece of property.
It is. It is, and the views from Court Square, the historic and majestic Court Square, and I've heard, I'm playing on this phenomenon that's occurring before the COVID-19, and hopefully it'll regenerate again. Empty nesters, baby boomers, and millennials want to either stay or come back to their core city, their downtown area. If you can give them amenities, live, work, and play. They like the action. And that's what I'm looking to do. And I've heard from a lot of people that have said, we're going to downsize. We'll sell our house, whether it's in Springfield or in suburban areas, and we want to get one of the units down in Court Square area there. And so you have that going on. Everybody knows about MGM. They say, hey, you'll never have $1 billion entertainment complex here. Well, we did. You'll never have the largest railway manufacturing company in the world, CRRC. Well, we have. And in the meantime, besides these, high-profile projects, we've done a tremendous amount of projects. They might not be as sexy, but in our neighborhood areas, quality of life, new libraries, new senior centers, new community centers, over $700 million of new schools that I've built, my administration's built a rehab. Brightwood Lincoln will open up this August, and then we have Homer Street to Berry. So before this COVID-19 day, we were really hitting on all cylinders, all cylinders. And we took a little shot, and now we're starting to punch our way back out of it, and we'll get our mojo back on it. But we've had a lot of good things going on, but our complete concentration, as you know, being the veteran anchor you've been, is that what was in front of my eyes was the COVID-19. And we had to deal with that constantly before you could start. We were planning, behind the scenes, but you had to deal with that constantly so you could move forward.
One of the things you look about, too, that we've talked about with COVID, more and more people are going to be working from at home.
It's shown.
And the fact that maybe some of the folks who can't afford to live in the eastern part of the state are going to start looking at the western part of the state.
You look at it now, that's another thing when you look at tax base, physical plant of businesses, it could possibly be changing. So we have to examine that on our tax base, too. The other thing, too, and I think they mentioned about Worcester, because Worcester does have that connection to Boston, the rail connection. And that's why this east-west connection is extremely important, because people just can't make it out in the Boston area. The costs are just tremendous, tremendous. Now, we have beautiful housing stock here. We have much more open area. Our price points are much lower in a lot of things here. What people now are buying around that Worcester area because they go to work the Boston or vice versa. That's my goal here for Springfield. If you could make that travel, that it could be a constant and it can be, in a reasonable time frame. People might say, geez, I can't afford to pay $800,000 or $1 million for a home out there, or $5,000 a month for an apartment. Let me go to Springfield. I could pick up a hell of a home there, or apartment area, business, and I can go back and forth. So it's economic development.
You optimistic about the high-speed rail?
I think the stars are aligned, with the administrations. But we have Richie on the federal level, and President Biden now, who really I think trying to push this bipartisan infrastructure program. Governor Baker, Lieutenant Governor Polito, myself, we're all working together here. They're talking about billions and billions of dollars coming down the pipeline here. And if now's the time to get this thing done, and if you're going to do it, we're going to do it. It's got to be done the right way and make those connections. When you go to Europe, Europe is connected very succinctly through the railways there. So we can look at all modes of transportation, but I just think that connection will be very, very important.
As you look ahead, you're not running this year because it's a 4-year
I run
term.
every day.
You're running every day.
Every day.
That was one of the things from the mayor's forum. It's like, listen, we're always running. Are you looking at a 5th term in 2023?
Well, it actually it would be a 6th term.
6th term.
Sixth
okay,
term.
yeah.
And yes, I'm going to run for re-election in 2023 if the people will have me, and my family's okay, and I'm okay, and there's more work to be done, and I'm honored and privileged to be the mayor of the city of Springfield. And Dave, you know me. I live this 24/7. I love my family, but I have a family in the city of Springfield. So I will, knock on wood, and if the people will have me, I will be doing that. And I'm very proud. People say, you mentioned Dave, the longest serving mayor in the city of Springfield's history. And I say, I'm not proud for myself. I'm proud for my mother and father, God rest their souls. They were immigrants. They came from another country, surviving at times underground during the Nazi occupation, World War II as kids. They worked hard, a barber and a seamstress, their own businesses. And I'd say I was proud. I'm proud for my mother and father.
Listen, I can't thank you enough for being my first guest on this program. It's always good to see you.
Wait a minute, I'm going to do it. Goatee. You look, Dr. Zhivago, he looked good. Dave, always a pleasure to be with you on Western Mass News, and I wish you continued success. And just when you thought you were out, they drag you right back in.
And on that note, we've got to say goodbye. See you next week.